Just the continuation of example number 2. Naputol kasi yung video. Now, we have to start with for d minus 1 times d minus 1y is equal to x square over 2. Dito naman tayo mag-pick up para hindi putol din yung ating solution. Hayaan nyo na naulit yung ibang parts. So we have to let, again, v be equal to d minus 1y. So the solving becomes d minus 1v is equal to x square over 2. Or this is dv minus v is equal to x square over 2. Or we have here dv over dx minus v is equal to x square over 2. This is now in the form of first-ordered linear equation, where your p is equal to negative 1, your q is equal to x square over 2, and your integrating factor phi is equal to e to the negative x. Okay? The solution for this is b phi times the integral of phi q dx. Again, c, or the arbitrary constant, is omitted since we are aiming for a particular solution. So we have v e to the negative x is equal to the integral of e to the negative x times q x squared over 2 dx. Or we may rewrite this as 1/2 the integral of x squared e to the negative x dx. Again, this is now in the form of integration by parts. So we have to let x du u be equal to x squared and dv be equal to e to the negative x dx. Your du is equal to 2x dx, and your v is equal to negative e to the negative x. Applying the formula, we have 1/2 times uv, negative x squared e to the negative x, minus the integral of negative 2x e to the negative x dx. Or we have 1/2 negative x squared e to the negative x plus 2 the integral of x e to the negative x dx. Again, integration by parts or partial integration. We have u is equal to x, dv is equal to e to the negative x dx. Your du is dx, and your v is equal to negative e to the negative x. So we have 1/2 times negative x squared e to the negative x. Okay? Hindi nakita. Yan. E to the negative x plus 2 times negative x e to the negative x minus the integral of negative e to the negative x dx. Or this is 1/2 negative x squared e to the negative x plus 2 or 2 times negative x e to the negative x minus e to the u negative dx. Negative is positive, so negative pa din. We have e to the negative x. Okay? So, taas ulit tayo. Magsimula. So, v e to the negative x is equal to 1/2 negative x squared e to the negative x minus 2x e to the negative x minus 2 e to the negative x. Or we have, dividing everything by e to the negative x, we have negative x squared over 2 minus x minus 1. Okay? That is equal to b. But what is v? v is d minus 1y. So replacing v with d minus 1y, that is equal to negative x squared over 2 minus x minus 1. Okay? So we have d y minus y is equal to negative x squared over 2 minus x minus 1. Or we can write this as dy over dx minus y is equal to negative x squared over 2 minus x minus 1. Okay? So again, this is in the form of first-order linear equation, where p is equal to negative 1, your q is equal to negative x squared over 2 minus x minus 1, and your integrating factor phi is equal to e to the negative x. Okay? The solution, y phi is equal to the integral of phi q dx. Again, the arbitrary constant c is omitted. So we have y e to the negative x is equal to the integral of e to the negative x q negative x squared over 2 minus x minus 1 dx. Or y e to the negative x is equal to the integral of negative x squared over 2 e to the negative x dx minus the integral of x e to the negative x dx minus the integral of e to the negative x dx. Okay? So, simplifying this, we have negative 1/2 the integral of x squared e to the negative x dx minus the integral of x e to the negative x dx minus the integral of e to the negative x dx. Okay? Again, this is integration by parts. So we have, for the first term, we have to let u be equal to x squared dv e to the negative x dx du is 2x dx And your v is negative e to the negative x. So applying the formula, we have, for the first term only, we have negative x squared e to the negative x minus the integral of negative e to the negative x 2x dx. Okay? Or this is negative x squared e to the negative x. Okay? Plus, ilabas na natin yung 2 Negative negative is positive 2. The integral of x e to the negative x dx. Again, this is integration by parts. So we have negative x squared e to the negative x plus 2. Your u here is x. dv is e to the negative x dx. Your du is dx. Your v is negative e to the negative x. So, 2 times negative x e to the negative x minus the integral of negative e to the negative x dx. Or we have negative x squared e to the negative x minus 2x e to the negative x. Okay? Minus the integral of negative e to the negative 2x is negative x e to the x negative. We have e to the negative x. Okay? So, i-write natin muna sa taas para hindi tayo maligaw, Nakakahilo din kasi kung minsan, naliligaw ako. So, we have y e to the negative x is equal to negative 1/2 times the integral of the first term is negative x squared e to the negative x minus 2x e to the negative x. Okay? Minus e to the negative x. That is the integral of the first term. Oh, wait. Yung 2 dapat i-distribute. This must be 2. Okay? So, we still have here 2. Okay? Now, for the second term, your u is x. dv is e to the negative x dx. Your du is equal to dx. Your v is negative e to the negative x. So we have, for the second term, negative x e to the negative x minus the integral of negative e to the negative x dx. Or this is negative x e to the negative x. Negative negative is negative e to the negative x. This is the integral of the second term, but that is negative times negative x e to the negative x minus e to the negative x. Now for the last term, negative minus the integral of e to the negative x is negative e to the negative x. So this must become positive e to the negative x. Or this is x squared e to the negative x over 2 minus or plus x e to the negative x plus e to the negative x plus x e to the negative x plus e to the negative x plus e to the negative x. Okay? Simplifying this, or dividing everything by e to the negative x, we have x squared over 2 plus x plus 1 plus x plus 1 plus 1. Or this becomes y is equal to x squared over 2 plus 2x plus 3. Okay? But this y here is also equal to yp. The solution, therefore, y is equal to yp plus yc. So y is equal to x squared over 2 plus 2x plus 3 plus yc. But what is yc? Saan yung yc natin? What is yc? Okay? yc is equal to e to the x plus c sub 1 plus c sub times c sub 1 plus c sub 2x plus c sub 3. So, i-rewrite lang natin yung value ng yc. We have e to the x times c sub 1 plus c sub 2x plus c sub 3. And that is the solution for equation number 2, example number 2 of method number 1. Okay? Now, let us have method number 2. Method number 2 is undetermined coefficients. So for method number 2, we have undetermined coefficient. Okay? So again, for method number 2, we still have two solutions, the yc and the yp. Under undetermined coefficients, we have two rules. Okay? So, meron kayong module na ipinadala ko about module number 3. You'll have in there the rules for undetermined coefficient. Rule number 1, when the function of x is equal to k times x raised to p times e raised to qx. A for q is equal to 0 and a sub n not equal to 0 in phi dy is equal to fx. Okay? Yp is equal to a times x raised to p plus b raised to x times x raised to p minus 1 and so on up to m. And for q equal to 0 and a sub n equal to 0 in phi dy is equal to fx, y sub p is equal to a times x raised to p plus b times x raised to p minus 1 up to m times x raised to r, where r is the number of times 0 appears as a root of the auxiliary equation phi m is equal to 0. Letter C, for q not equal to 0, yp is equal to e raised to qx times a times x raised to p plus b times x raised to p minus 1 up to m times x raised to r, where r is the number of times q appears as a root of the auxiliary equation. Rule number 2. When fx is equal to kx raised to p, e raised to qx cosine bx, or x times x raised to p, e raised to qx sine bx. The solution for yp therefore is equal to e raised to qx times a sub 1 x raised to p plus b sub 1 x raised to p minus 1 up to m sub 1 x raised to r cosine bx plus e raised to qx times a sub 2 x raised to p up to m sub 2 times x raised to r sine bx. In here, where r is the number of times q plus bi, appears as a root of the auxiliary equation phi m. Let us have an example for method number 2 of non-homogeneous linear equation with constant coefficient. So let us have example number 1. What is example number 1? Find the solution of d square minus 4y is equal to 4x minus 3e raised to x. Take note that this example is the first example in method number 1. Titignan natin kung magkakaparehas ng sagot. Sabi ko nga sa inyo, these are just methods, but you will arrive on the same solution. You have to. Kasi nagkaiba lamang ng method, pero iisa yung problems na sinasagutan natin. Okay? So, solution. Again, the solution for yc, or ano yung yc? Ano ibig sabihin ng yc? That is the complementary function yc. For example number 1, o sige, ano ba arbitrary, sagutan lang din natin ulit. Ano ba arbitrary constant natin? Auxiliary equation, I mean. That is m square minus 4 is equal to 0. Or this is m minus 2 times m plus 2 is equal to 0. Your r sub 1 therefore is equal to 2, and r sub 2 is equal to negative 2. Module number 2, case number 1, you have your yc is equal to c sub 1 e raised to r sub 1 x, that is 2x, plus c sub 2 raised to r sub 2x e raised to r sub 2 x is negative 2x. That is the value of yc. Now, for yp. Okay? So, in our solution, we have this on the right side of the equation. Now for yp, 4x. Okay? So 4x yung term natin. In this 4x, what is the value of q? Q. So base doon sa rules natin, the value of q, or the function of x, that is 4x, okay? Yung fx natin is 4x, okay? That is k x raised to p e raised to QX. Okay? So, ano yung Q natin for example number 1? May iba tayo dito. Wala. Therefore, ang Q natin, 0. Maliwanag? Kasi dapat daw, okay, sa rule number 1, the function of x is equal to k x raised to p e raised to q x. Pero dito sa 4x, wala tayong q dahil wala naman tayong x. So q is equal to 0. Okay? Now, how about the value of p? Okay. Kx raised to p. 4x. 4 is k, x is x raised to p. Therefore, your p is 1. Okay? And your k, that is equivalent to an. This is also your k, is equivalent to 4. Okay? So, based on the rule, your y p sub 1 is equal to a, rule number 1, x raised to p. Okay? A x raised to p, that is 1, plus b x raised to p 1 minus 1. Okay? Wala na tayong kasunod, di ba? Or this is the same as a x plus x raised to 0 is 1. Okay? That is y p sub 1 is equal to a x plus b. Okay? That is on the first term of this right side. Now, for the second term, negative 3e to the x. For negative 3e to the x, what is the value of your q? Okay, again, rule number 1, kxp e to the x. Therefore, your q is 1. How about the value of your p? Your p is, may x ba tayo rito? Wala. This must be 0. And your r is also equal to 0. Bakit? Since q is not a root, yung 1 daw, is not a root of the auxiliary equation. Kasi ang root natin, 2 and negative 2 lang. Q is not a root. Therefore, your r is 0. Nakalagay yan sa rule. Basahin nyo na lamang na maigi. Okay? Therefore, y p2 is equal to, okay, rule number 1, letter B. Okay? Rule number 1, letter B. Letter C. For Q not equal to 0. Yung Q kasi natin 1. For Q not equal to 0, rule number 1, letter C. So we have E raised to QX. Your Q is 1. X times A X raised to P. But P is 0. Okay? Plus b x2, wala naman pala tayong pina. 0 minus 1 ba? Hindi po pwede. Magne-negative lamang siya. Okay? Times x raised to r. X raised to 0. Therefore, your yp sub 2 is equal to x raised to 0 is 1 a e raised to x. Okay? That is ae raised to x. Your total yp therefore, dito pa ba sa screen? Ayan, lumin natin. Your total yp is equal to yp sub 1 plus yp sub 2. And this is equal to a x plus b plus a e raised to x. Pero pansinin natin, parehong a yan. So what we're going to do is to replace, just for the sake of the computation, a x plus b, replacing a with c, e to the x. So that is yp. Okay? Now, take note of the given equation. Naka-second derivative tayo. So this square denoted we have to take the second derivative. Hindi, sa gaya na discuss natin, doon sa differential operator, na yung square dito is not the exponent, but the order of differentiation. Okay? So since naka-d square tayo dito, ibig sabihin, we have to differentiate twice. So let us have yp prime, or the first differential. So this becomes a plus, yung differential b is 0, c e to the x. And y double prime, nawala na ako sa screen, y double prime is equal to, the differential of a is 0, c e to the x. Okay? Next solution. So substitute yp and its derivatives to the given equation in here. But we have to simplify this first. Liwanag? So simplify natin to. Gawin natin siyang